Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the king of the open mics, everyone's favorite background extra, the 2003 Packy Award-winning Producer of the Year, Greg Simoneau. Gotta get a little psyched up though. Just let this go a little bit. Oh, I love this part right here. All right, that's good. Good stuff. Now I'm out of breath. Good evening, Plymouth Land. How are you? I'm Greg Simoneau. That's right, the 2003 Producer of the Year at your service. And I'd first like to say, hi, Jen. I'm waiting for you to say it back. Oh, you did? Okay, good. I also want to say hi, Mom, hi, Dad. I'm out of breath. And I want to say hi to Scotty B. And this is for Scotty B right here. I've been here before. Thank you. Thanks. The Greg Simoneau Show. We're starting a new count. And you might not remember me from before, but we're starting out. This is the 4th show. And let's take a moment to relive some of the great moments of episodes 1 through 3. Do we have that? Go ahead. Go ahead, roll that beautiful bean footage right now. We don't have it? Okay. Well, let's just say, let's just remember in our brains how the first 3 episodes went. So good. Thank you. And, you know, I've been thinking about my show, and it's really kind of a miracle, you know? Think about it. The odds of this happening, then for my parents to meet, then for them to have me, then for me to sign up for PAC TV in 2001, do a show, then take 15 years off, and then come back and do a new show, the odds of that are like 0.001. So it's a miracle just even to be here tonight, so thank you. Thanks. I would like to thank the staff here, Carol, Dustin, Dave, you know, in the previous staff who've been here throughout the years, you know, Dan the Man, Rich, you know. I've been doing it a while, and I would like to think I'm up there with the greats, Carl Pratt, Mark Lord. But that might only be in my head, so that's okay. Whew. So tonight I wanted to talk about a little bit about, I'm sort of a gamer, you know what I mean? Like, I guess it's mostly like Nintendo back in the day. And just to set the mood, let's why don't we go ahead and throw up that picture of me from 1989 with that Nintendo t-shirt. We got that? I thought no? Do we have that picture of me from 1989? The gaming one? Can you throw that? No, we don't have it? Okay. Well, imagine this. It was me, 1989, a little bit younger, you know, however many years ago that was. And the shirt said Nintendo. And doesn't that just set the mood right there? It was a pink lettering, hot pink. I'm colorblind, so I really can't tell if that's really what it was, but just imagine it. And that's Greg in 1989. And here's a little story of something that happened to me when I was playing Nintendo. And, you know, a lot of things happened to me when I was really, it stuck with me, scarred me for life. I was over a friend's house, and we were playing, do, and the dad busts in, and he says, "Will you kids be quiet? Your mom's on the phone with the landlord right now, and we're moving, and we're leaving here, and we're leaving with a whole lot of money if you just be quiet." And then he slams the door, and I looked to my friend, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't know you guys were renting." Yeah, because you really don't think about that when you're a kid. You think everyone moves to the neighborhood and they're homeowners, but so we go back to playing. I instantly die, and that's gamer speak for dying. And so they probably have a cooler name for that, like finish him, fatality. So the game ends. And, I wait for a good moment of the break in the action. And I say, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm just gonna leave these games here, but actually I'm gonna bring my games with me. Do you mind? Yeah, it's getting late. I think I'm just gonna go. And then I was like, do I go through the living room? Is that okay? Do I still go through the living room? All right. So I grabbed my games, luckily, and walked out through the living room, and the mom was on the phone with the landlord. I think she was trying to get her security deposit back or something. And I was like, okay. And I gave it one last look back at her, and I said, "Good luck on your scam." Yeah, right. I was a nice little kid. I would never say anything like that. I didn't say that. So then the next thing is, we were getting games, renting games, buying games. You're a big gamer. So I lent out this game to a friend, and this was back in the days where the games weren't as easily accessible as they are now. And I said, "Can I get that game back?" And they're like, "I'm not done with it yet. I'm not done." Wednesday, Thursday, finally get the game back from the kid. We pop it in our machine, right? Black screen, the lights blinking. This thing ain't working. And me and my brothers were like, "We're gonna sue him. We're gonna sue them." And I took the cartridge, like, did he take out the innards of the cartridge? Like, is that even possible? So we tell my mom, and she gets on the phone, calls his mom, right? And the mom says, "Oh, yeah, it wasn't working for us now. You got a blow on it." And we hadn't had to blow on our machine before. We didn't ever have to blow on our games before this. So we did. We blew on it, and it worked. So then we immediately dropped the lawsuit, and we were going to go and sue them for, of a video game and a short story. And we dropped the lawsuit, and I go over their house again. It's fine now. We're blowing out our games now. That's what we're doing. I go over the house, and the mom's in the living room, and she's playing a Nintendo game like it's a harmonica. And then she gets down to the machine. It's just like, she's like, and I was like, oh my God, that's how these people live. So that was another trip through the gaming, part of the gaming, the underbelly of the gaming society that I had never really realized before. But that was a part of it. So we got the game back working. We learned the blow-in technique. I'm buying head cleaners now for the Nintendo. I'm trying to clean that thing out. And we decided we're going to leave our Nintendo in the cellar. We had a great setup. We had lawn chairs. We had sheets hanging up on the walls. My parents came home one day. We had done Mario murals all over the concrete down cellar. And we're going to leave it here. We've had friends over. We're playing Labyrinth. We have the NES 4 score. We got 8 controllers going. I don't even know if this was possible back then, but we did it, right? We did it. We come back from vacation. We go downstairs. The Nintendo's gone. Games are gone. Controller's gone. This is my neighborhood. This is my gaming, community. South Plymouth, right? Things gone. We tell our dad, Dad, did you take the Nintendo? Like, are you punishing us? No. And my dad, he was sleeping. He was working third shift, right? Trying to feed his family, sleeping during the day, working third shift. And he going in there through the bulkhead into the basement while I was asleep. And my dad's like, we thought, if he ever got his hands on those kids, he might have killed them. That's what my dad was like back then. So he says, okay, all right, well, it's stolen. We'll see what happens. So that week on the bus, we heard who stole it. Kid down the street. He's telling everyone he stole our Nintendo, right? And we had a feeling like this. When you invite gamers over to your cellar and you're playing eight-way labyrinth games with them and stuff, you kind of get the idea they're casing your joint, right? So we had, before we left our vacation, we turned the Nintendo over, the one that I already have to blow in now, and we wrote out our name and address twice with Sharpie on the bottom of the Nintendo, right? And we told our dad, if you flip it over, our name's on the bottom of that in Sharpie. So he goes, okay. He goes over. We stay home. We don't want any part of this. We think he might go kill the other dad, kill the kids. Who knows what's going to happen, right? So he goes over there. He says, when he comes back, he tells us the story. I went over there. I said, let me see, so-and-so. They're like, oh, he's in his room. I'll let myself in. He walks right past the dad, blows by the dad, goes into the room. He says, I walked into the room. There they are, 8 kids playing Nintendo, right? And I said, is that Greg's Nintendo? And they're like, no. He's like, oh, yeah? Goes over, flips it upside down, okay? The bottom of the Nintendo, looked like someone had taken a nail and scratched out the name and address with a nail. It must have taken him a half hour to scratch the whole thing out. And he's like, okay, yeah, this is mine. He takes it, rips the wiring out of the TV, rips the controllers, gathers up the games, and brings them home to us. So now my Nintendo, I have to blow in it. The bottom looks like someone took a nail to it, all scraped up. But long story short, we got our Nintendo back. And those kids have no Nintendo now. But, this was back in the day. This is the way the gaming community was in South Plymouth. And people who know me from the neighborhood, they know who I'm talking about. You know what's going on. Oh. And that was just something I wanted to talk about. I wanted this to be my little gaming segment of the show. So years later, you can pick up an old Nintendo at for a period of time, they weren't the 8-bit NES wasn't the cool system. It went to Super Nintendo, N64, so on and so on. So you could buy the old ones used, right? I have 4 of them in my house now. I think I've got a complex now, right? And the other day, I don't play them all the time. It's just nice to have them, when something's ripped on and torn to shreds, it leaves a scar, So I don't have and I checked mine, I don't have the one that's been scratched up. So it's still out there. It could be on eBay. If your Nintendo is scratched on the bottom, just know that one's been through some stuff. That was mine. Oh. That was just something I wanted to get off my chest. I get into a lot of things. I get into, I go from one thing to another. And I get a lot of fan mail. I just want to say I wish I could answer it all. Sorry, I can't answer it all. But someone did send me a pamphlet on ADD. So very funny to whoever did that. Very funny out there. Someone also sent me a DVD on ADD. How to treat ADD. What? Squirrel. And DVD. Very funny. Very funny. Very funny. And where was I? I have to watch that DVD. So I go from one thing to the next. I'm into wrestling, baseball cards, you name it, you know. And I've really been into Mario a little bit lately. And I realized, you know, I'm starting to look like Mario, you know. All these years of playing Mario, I am Mario. And I was thinking, you know, my dad was actually Mario because he had a little bit of a plumbing background. And he'd always go around saying, "It's a me, Egg G, woohoo," stuff like that. So that's another little thing for Dad if he's watching. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm into the Koopalings. It's Bowser's kids. You know, I don't know why. It's just I find them really interesting. I wish if I could name them off the top of my head. I don't know. It's like Wendy and Ludwig and Bowser Jr. Something like that. I don't know who they are, but I'm kind of into them right now. You know, just checking them out. And I was thinking, everybody's neighborhood had like a Koopa like family, don't you think? You know, the people that lived in the back of the neighborhood, you know, they always had like a little bit of fire burning going on there, or their driveway is just covered in sand for no reason, you know, and they have like a bunch of kids, and you're kind of afraid of them. It's like real life Koopas. And like I know my neighborhood did. And anyone watching from the neighborhood this episode, you know who I'm talking about. So I remember my mom saying like, "Oh, you know, Greg, how many Koopas are on your bus this year?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. She'd go, "Well, Wendy stayed back, so she's on your bus. Iggy blackmailed that teacher and moved up a grade, so he's on your bus. And Ludwig is in the boiler room, so we don't know what grade he's in. He's on your bus. You have at least 3, so watch your back on the bus." And if anyone who knows me knows I had trouble on the bus. And, you know, I can blame the Koopas. Even now, I still blame the Koopas. And, of course, they had an airship. Like, this family, they couldn't even, like... They always had the worst stuff, but of course they'd have an airship, right? Flying around the neighborhood, you know, throwing fireballs at us down below. Like, how did they get this stuff? Who did they scam to get this airship? I don't know. But that was my neighborhood, and that was the Koopas, you know. It's just amazing. It's just a miracle, you know. It really is. And that's just my thoughts I've had on that for now, and just like to say, I'll see you in the coffee shop. Do we have that music? No? Can we put that back on? Oh, we did have it. Oh, hello there. Welcome to the coffee shop, where we talk shop about writing comedy. And what we like to do in the comedy shop is let's warm it up a little bit. This is where we call other people in the industries, we say their name, and then we call them a hack. Because if you want to be a comedian, you've got to realize that you like your material and you hate everyone else's. Everyone else stinks, you're the best. If you want to be a real comedian, that's how it goes. So let's warm it up in the coffee shop. Joel McHale, hack. Tom Hanks, hack. Now, Tom Hanks isn't really a comedian, but, you know, he's way too famous and way too good. So we give out love, but, you know what I mean? Like, we got to warm it up here. Sarah Silverman, hack. Who else? Tom Cruise, hack. Jim Gaffigan, hack. Kevin Hart, hack. All right, now we're feeling pretty good about ourselves, right? First thing I'd like to talk about, as I mentioned in the beginning, is Plymouth's favorite open micer. And when you're an open micer, that means you go to open mics. You don't have to really get booked.
And this is a great place for you to work out your comedy, right? So an open micer is like a newbie comic, and you're working out your stuff at an open mic, okay? Now the idea here is that you'll have some original material. Don't use other people's material. Start out with your own, even if it's bad. And what doesn't, or doesn't, and then separate the two and then try out more stuff and then build a set. So then eventually you'll have a good 15 minutes and you could be a real working comic, right? That's the idea, and that's what an open micer is. Now, if you're looking for an open mic in Plymouth, here's a list of those. Do we have that list of open mics in town that I brought? Did we punch that up? No. So, well, let's pretend you can find it out on your own with your phone on Google. Look for an open mic night at such places around Plymouth or somewhere locally to you that you can find and work out your comedy material. Now, I suggest maybe scoping out the open mic night first, because if everyone's playing instruments and singing, it's going to be kind of weird for you to just get up there and start doing jokes. Now, I would ask the person running the open mic night, can all be musical acts? And your jokes might not, your jokes are going to be bad at the beginning. Believe me, I know mine were. Because when you ask for a laugh at an open mic, it's really hard to get one. Especially when they thought you were going to do a song, Ave Maria or something. Just saying. I also brought this with me. What is this here in the coffee shop? This is a book I like to use. It's called Judy Carter, The Stand-Up Comedy, the Book. I'm so glad I brought it. And this book can help you, give you some tips on how to write a comedy act and break into the business. And I hope you do, and I hope you are very successful at it. But remember, when you're a real comedian, you think everyone else's material stinks. So am I lying to you right now? I don't know, but I wish you the best. This book, on the cover here, there's a quote by Gary Shandling, who's no longer with us, by the way. This is a fine book and can improve your stand-up comedy as long as you don't take it up on stage with you. Well, that's a good tip right on the cover. Can you imagine what the rest of the book is filled with? I can, because I read it a while ago. It also goes over punchlines and setups. And I think my coffee's ready. So that's all the time we have here in the coffee shop. Thanks for watching. Good night. See you in the card zone. Welcome to the Card Zone. I'm Greg Simoneau, and this is the Card Zone. Opposite field. I'm Greg Simoneau. Of course, you've been watching me for the last 20 minutes. And this is my Card Zone, where we talk about baseball cards. Sometimes we open up cards. Like today. What do we have here? Oh, it's Top Heritage Baseball 2022. And on the front, we have Devers and Bogarts smiling, which is a rare occurrence these days since they're in last place. We tried to have Devers and Bogarts on the show tonight, but we never asked them, hey. So this is a pack of Topps Heritage 2022. Let's just go ahead and rip into this. Oh, I love the smell of cards. Now, don't do this to your cards because it might damage them, if you're a stickler on condition of mint and near mint corners. So don't go too rough on them. But definitely get a little whiff of that. On the back of the pack, we obviously have the customer service line where you can call and they can tell you to go pound sand. I've tried it. Not helpful. Also on the back, it gives you the odds. And right here, the odds of a autograph relic are 1 in 29,843. That's some steep odds. that is almost the odds of me doing a show now in 2022, right? That we discussed earlier? Okay, enough of that. All right, so it's a miracle. It's a miracle we have this pack and this show is coming. Our good friends Bogarts and Devers, and the first card we have here is Charlie Blackmon of the Colorado Rockies. He was a good hitter when he had Arenado in the lineup, and now he's just kind of stinks. But it's still a nice card. He's got the flow going with the hair and the beard. Nice card. I went to the Rockies Stadium in '07. I saw Tulowitzki hit a grand slam right in front of me in right field. I'm the best. Okay. This next one here is DJ Stewart of the Baltimore Orioles. This guy is 6 foot even. He weighs 210 pounds. So he has me on weight and height, but I'm a lot closer to him in weight. I don't know if that makes a difference. But if I'm still trying to make the majors. And we're similar builds. So picture this face on this physique. You get that? Can we get a tighter shot? So picture that. It's almost the same face. If you look at it, oh my God. The similarities are scary, right? All right. Enough of that. This is a 9-pack of cards. Back in the day, you used to get 16. Now we have 9. But we're doing good with this. You don't want to open up too many cards on your show, especially if you're also, trying to give a bump to your comedy career. Can't waste all this time on cards, right? All right. The next one is Tim Anderson, shortstop for the Chicago White Sox, perennial all-star. Easy for me to say. He's a good player to pick up in Fantasy League. He'll help you out. I'm like 50 games back in Fantasy League. Kudos to the people in my league. You're really kicking my butt this season. Good job, Beef. In color, there's some color pages here, and I've let a bunch of them fall out. This is the last one remaining. I'm sure they're at home. I just didn't bring them with me. This is an interesting card here. I like this one, the 1909 to 1911. It says Tris Speaker. I'm pretty sure it's Tri-Speaker. It's kind of French, I think. I really should have looked that up before I come on here and do this. But it's a cigar card. It says Boston here. And even as a Red Sox fan, I really don't like this card because, look at it. It looks like I could have drawn that. You know what I'm saying? But this book mentions that there are 10,000 baseball cards for you to collect. And it counts these. Like, you would have to be a billionaire and spend all your time trying to search these down to collect these. These are not reachable. The Kmart one, that's maybe one you might have. These cigar cards, no, you're not going to have those. No. And the book, it only goes up to 87, so it is limited. But it is part of the Greg Simoneau collection. It'll stay that way till I throw it in the dumpster. So, no, I'm just kidding, Auntie, I am keeping it because you so lovingly wrote, Merry Christmas. But that's all we have now from the Card Zone. Hope you had fun. I know I did. Thanks for watching the Greg Simoneau Show. It's been a great 20 minutes, and it's been just a gosh darn miracle to be here. Thank you.